The midpoint formula also works with values of the coordinates of points, and it determines the halfway point between two endpoints. So for example, we have 2, -15, and 4, 15. When it talks about exactly the halfway point, we're really talking about just finding the average between 2 points. So exactly halfway means that we're going to be looking for the average between two values, or the average of two values. So the average of 2 to 4, the halfway mark, we know from 2 to 4 is 3, right? So if I'm at 2 and you're at 4 and we're going to meet in the middle, we're going to meet at 3. So how do we determine that? So we've got an x, we've got a y, x1, y1. We have an x and we have a y, x2, y2. We need a new midpoint that's almost a third point, x3, y3. Well, how do we determine what these values are? Well, they are the average. So x3, that new point that's halfway between x1 and x2. So here's x1, here's x1, y1. So I just want to give you a visual because it would help. x2, y2, right? So we've got 2 points, and then halfway between, I'm just going to call that x3, y3. This is probably something you've never seen before because I just kind of came up with it just to give you that visual. This right here is your midpoint. It's an ordered pair. Well, how do we find that value of x3? Well, it's the average of x1 and x2. So x1 plus x2, to find the average, you add and divide by 2. Same thing with the y's. You're going to add and divide by 2. So for this midpoint, we're going to have 2 plus 4 divided by 2. Let me highlight that for you so that you can see. We're going to take the x's, 2 plus 4, and then we divide by 2. We're going to do the same thing with the y's. Let's change the color of that highlighter. So we'll do the same thing with the y's. And that's going to be -15 plus 5 divided by 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. -15 plus 5 is -10. -10 divided by 2 is -5. And that's the coordinates of the midpoint between those 2 points.